Out of nowhere this whole thing come. You see that on camera? Why is run from camera so?
I don't normally run to camera. When you see camera come on, you see me in the back of the audience somewhere.
Hiding.
All you leave me. We work hard all day, so we job all night. It's the only way we just function right. When you feel the pressure building all day long, we go wide and
To see, to know that something is coming from nothing.
There's a mystery in it.
And then here you have, the song being performed by a lot of players who are showing the expressions and emotions that you try to communicate.
Well, I had lucky being seen today. 2019. It's so good. Okay, this is live on live interview, of course, Gerelle Forbes, DJ Wanky. I like when you do that. And my guest for today, Mark Loquan, who does not like to be seen, but he's going to be seen today.
Yes.
You look uncomfortable. You look uncomfortable. It's fine.
Yeah.
Mark is celebrating 20 years of music. That's more than I've been existing on this stage.
You look so
I'm not going to lie. This month I'll be 29.
Wow.
Oh my God.
No.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say
I don't believe that.
I hear the name so many times and being part of the pan world, it's like, who is this person? Who is it? I think the first time I saw you and knew what you looked like was Facebook. It would have been Facebook. I think when we had when the friend request, I was like, that's what you look like. Okay. But you started off as a player.
Started off as a player, yes, but I would say before becoming a player, I was
writing,
composing my own music from a teenager day.
Right.
But the music being composed then was more ballads and pop music,
right,
and so on. So I've been doing it.
And you hear that in the earlier compositions. You hear the influence of even like musicals and like you say ballads and that old school R&B, because definitely not R&B now. But
No.
The more melodic R&B,
Yes,
where you have the
so-
influence of bands and orchestras. You hear that?
So you grew up with the music in the the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and then all the rich chord changes and progressions and that kind of music that existed, a million chords in a row.
When chords and emotions were like having conversations.
And I enjoy kind of working out the music.
Yeah.
On the guitar, and, you hear it on the radio.
Is that your first instrument, guitar?
Guitar is my first instrument, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would started as probably just before a teenager. But then you find me picking out the chords and trying to dissect the song.
Right.
And of course the songs in those days had a lot of chords in it. And it was just like a nice challenge to see if I could kind of work it out.
So as a musician, you prefer chords over melodies? You build from chords first?
Could be both ways. I can't say it's one or the other, but I normally would try to find chord progressions, yes.
Right, yeah.
And see how the melodies fit.
Yeah, because I'm just from observing, like, I started off on violin. So my headspace when creating would always be melodies first. And I would hear chords after. And then when I follow like people who do keys, they how they create, because I guess keys you could split into. You're doing chords on one hand, you could just function on chords and then you have your melodies.
Right.
People who start on guitar have, of course, this ridiculous understanding for chords. And then you have you who guitar then pan. Would it have been?
I would say probably keyboard.
There you
just
go.
playing around with a piano and
Right.
learning chords and trying to play the Billy Joel and Elton John and those kinds of songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Who in the family was in the music?
Well, my
To
father.
have a guitar and a keyboard just lying around the place.
Well, my father he had a mandolin.
Hey.
And then he also had a old piano there as
Right.
well. And then my brothers played guitar.
Right.
And my sister too.
So everybody.
So we used to kind of play a lot, you know, sometimes and once a year at the end of the year, you know,
Was that a
Christmas.
thing? Was that a thing in those times where everybody just had a piano in the house? I feel like when you talk to people who, you know, from the 70s and 80s kind of thing, not to make it seem too old.
Yeah, I had a piano in my house, but I didn't pick it up and play it.
I take it this out. You had a piano in your house?
Not piano, but a keyboard. I was a keyboard.
People used to just have piano or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
A bass guitar.
The pan came a lot later. No? I mean, the pan came and
I wish I was in a house with a
You know.
piano just lying around the bed.
decided I wanted to learn to play pan.
Right.
But that was because many years later, I had some visitors who wanted to take her around to Trinidad. Took them to see Panorama and so on, and you know, got this massive song coming to me and saying, well, I have to learn that.
Serious.
Yeah, so I walked into Silver Stars,
There it is.
Steel Orchestra.
This would have been Junior.
This would have been Edwin Pouchette at the
Oh,
time.
Edwin, okay.
Junior was coming in and out as well.
Okay.
But he was in Florida with Disney World and
Right.
so on. And then there was this guy, Michael Manish Robinson. Manish in Japan. What time it is in Japan? About 13 hours later. That's about 7 in the morning.
Right.
Manish, if you're up, in and out. So he was there as the frontline player in Silver Stars. Manish, by the way, is the guy who is now living in Japan for the last 20-something odd years.
Right.
You would have seen him as a frontline player in Phase 2 and this band and
Right.
various bands. But now he has, I don't know, 3 or 4 pan schools in
Out
Japan.
there, right.
And he's, you know, married to a Japanese and has
Nice.
children, and he's teaching people and
Very nice.
arranging and making pans and so on. So he's the guy that kind of taught me
Right.
to play tunes on pan in
Right.
the beginning.
Which is tenors, your first.
tenor, yeah. And then there was Curtis Spear, who I would go to just to learn scales and all of these things.
Right.
And then there was, I don't remember who
At
else.
this point, you're working.
I'm working and everything, you know, yeah. So this came along afterwards. So the guitar and the piano is what was kind of
Right.
in the childhood days,
Right.
growing up in school, and
So it's not like you were looking for a career in music or to have this.
not at all. No, it was always a serious hobby.
A serious hobby.
Excuse
Yeah.
the coughing.
Hey, go ahead, be sick, everybody's sick.
Yeah.
No, some water.
I know that, it's fine. No, it was always a serious hobby. Always there, you go to school, and the prefix concert, you know, backing up some people in the concert,
Yeah.
or in university, and you find a band playing and you go and join them, and you know, you're disturbing everybody else in the dormitory because you play the guitar and everybody telling you, hey,
Hush.
you know, those kind of things going
But then
on.
that says a lot about your personality, though. You're not sit in the audience and be quiet. You're not as much as you don't like cameras and being on stage and being seen. You're still not that quiet then.
Well, music
To
was
be to get
always-
involved.
Yeah, music was always kind of like the way to keep you connected also to other people, because you'll always connect to other musicians in the,
Right.
in the same place where everybody stayed, and
Right.
you know, you start playing together, jamming and
Yeah.
so on, you know.
Yeah, you see, you saying it as you saying it is like that. I know plenty musicians or plenty artists. If a jam session is happening, they will not go. They will just pick up the instrument and join and play and jam, and you know, it's so strange. I don't know if it's maybe young people know, like you want to be a part of, but there's this fear or some sort of timid something to just get up and join. And you talking about it as a strong hobby. You know,
Yeah, I mean, even
you just get up and go.
even when I was a young boy now, next my neighbor was Roger Saloon. You know Roger Saloon? He plays the drums.
Yeah.
So we grew up together, right? And they lived next to me, and we had a band.
Right.
And the singer was his brother.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Saloon on keyboard.
Right.
Roger was playing the drums. He just
So
got
it
he
just
just got a
seemed-
drum set.
It
Yeah,
just seemed
and I
as
was
it
a
should be.
guitarist, yeah, and then we would play at all these different events and so on. So, yeah, that's how it started.
So you end up playing, but then a hobby that you just happen to be joining. At what point you started creating?
Well, that's what
For
I say.
Pan. For
Oh,
Pan.
For Pan.
For Pan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The idea of creating music or composing your own ideas, melodies, structures. A lot of that was you were trying to. I was doing it from a teenager. You know, writing these songs. But then when many years later, probably in my 30s, right? That's where I joined the pan world, and I was more learning to play the steel pan. I think about 4 years after that, what happened was one of the songs that I had composed called A Land for All. That was the very first one I actually recorded.
Right.
And the way how that happened was the same guy Michael managed Robinson say, but why you only playing home and you're playing on the guitar and this is a great song, you should record it, so and so and so.
And then you had a video for that as well.
And we made a video and you know.
Yeah. And it was a big deal because a lot of my generation, that's in our minds, because TTT was always showing on TTT.
Really?
You know, when I was going through the music, my god sister is with me. She lives in New York, but she's with me for the time being. And she hearing the music playing, she's like, I remember that song. I was like, what are you talking about? She said, I used to show on TV all the time. And she forgot the words, but she's humming along the melodies and that kind of. I was like, interesting. And she's not into the pan world. She's not into. So you have that, you know, the music still have the effect on people.
So that song wasn't for pan.
Right.
That song was
just a song. Yeah.
Was my first recorded song.
Right.
And what happened was, you know, Manish said, well, let's. Well, after it was recorded, there was this guy, Martin Andy Schiff, who's passed away now. But he was. He said, let's arrange it for Pan is Beautiful. And that was 1998 or something like that. And
Have you ever played in a pan is Beautiful before that?
No, never. So bear in mind, I probably started pan maybe 5 years before.
Right.
And you know, so I was playing with the band. I became a stateside member of Silver Stars and trying my panorama here, that kind of thing going on. But the love of creating music never really, never really stopped. And after we recorded the song, he actually arranged it for Pan is Beautiful for an ensemble category for this band called Belmont Supersonics. Belmont Supersonics, Belmont, no?
Yeah, we will be in Belmont. Where's part of Belmont?
Gosh, it was under...
Up Valley Road?
France Valley. I think it was up France. Yeah.
St. France Valley. That's something
so.
Right before the hill, right before the mountain.
And it was in a garage. It was like an old shed, and we were practicing under there. And you know, we saying, boy, we entering Pan is Beautiful with one of my songs, and there was a David Runner song, calypso music, and we did these two songs together, and it turned out that we won. Right.
That's a big, huge, enormous deal for somebody who just started.
So yeah,
that's crazy.
I just started, and it was the first time I was hearing one of my songs on pan.
Yo.
So this wasn't Panorama by any means,
right?
But
still, you're going up against music like David Rudder, calypso music.
Well, we played that together. But we were going up against the All Stars and Exodus and Invaders or whatever those bands in the ensemble category, but we won.
You're right.
And we said, wow, you know, because this qualified us, therefore, to be in the World Steel Band Festival 2000 in Trinidad, in ensemble category.
I would have been a hot mess.
Which we didn't end up going for many other reasons.
Right.
But the point was, that's how it all started.
Right.
And once that happened, I guess I said, you know, having been involved in Pan at that point in time, playing in panoramas and things like that. So, well, you know, a nice goal would be to write a song for Panorama.
There we go.
And the same guy who caused me to produce the song A Land for All, we said we'd do a song together, and he did part of the melody, I did part of the melody, and then I wrote all the words.
Right.
And that was Glory.
Right.
And that was performed by Potential Symphony and
This is in Malik.
and the same Belmont Supersonics
Right.
and so on. And that was the first time I was in a panorama space. That song was sung by Sheldon Blackman. Hail to Sheldon Blackman too, by the way.
Yeah, it's
So-
crazy how fast this happened. It's really crazy how fast from you starting to play, learning to play, to just taking the chance of writing and creating, just doing it, just do it,
Just
do
doing
it.
it, yeah.
And how fast that spread. Like, wow.
Well, and then once that happened, I said, you know, there's another song came to me, you know, just very quickly. I was in the studio, and while we were, I don't know, finishing off Glory, I was sitting down there jamming some chords. I said, this progression sounding good. This is Passion for Pan. And that was done in about, I don't know.
So now the tap on and the creative
the
just
tap went
flowing.
on, right? But so we did Passion for Pan, and that's, if you look at that structure, I mean, it's a nice melody, but chords all over the place, right?
Right.
So it was my kind of, I guess, fusion of growing up with so many chords and things, and
Right.
melodies, with, you know,
Right.
James Taylor and all these
Right.
kind of
Right.
songs, and
At this point, were people doing that with the pan music? Not
Well-
the arrangements, the actual compositions. In your opinion, what was the music sounding like then at that point?
no, at that point in time, there was nice melodic structures and movements and so on going on as well. But there was also the I think there was a lot of discussion around that time that there was not enough music for pan and that kind
For
of stuff. Yeah, and they were even I think in those days we were even talking pan kaiso competitions. You remember all of that was going on?
He said, remember all of that.
No,
it
you
was
wouldn't know
good.
that.
What does he say? It's not easy to remember. No, Gerelle would have been 6 or 7 at any point in time.
Yeah, where were you, man?
Oh, Lord.
So what happened was, yeah, we did Passion for Pan, and that was sung by Shanakwa, and that was the first song I started to produce with Junior Ibo Joseph.
Yeah, you have a lot of work. You have a lot of
So
work.
that's
with
where I met
Ibo.
Junior. So hail to Junior Ibo Joseph as well, who's done practically, you know,
A lot.
so many of my
Lot,
songs
yeah.
already. But that song went out and nobody played it.
Did you know him before that? Ibo.
No, I don't think so. No.
So you approached him. He's like, hey, I had this thing. What we gonna do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I heard at that time he was, you know, one of the guys
Right.
to go to, so I just went. Right?
What is it about that? Something had to happen within that relationship that made you stay, because a lot of your work is with Ibo production.
Yeah, I mean, somehow, you know, I would just, you know, he knows what I would like to do, and we kind of work very well
And that's
together.
difficult to
And-
get a producer and the composer to work.
Yeah.
Because you go to producers and they're just not on the same wavelength with you.
No, it's
So
so
for you on your first go to this producer who you don't know, you just hear people talking about him and it worked, that's rare. You don't really find that often.
But things were going on at that time that I had already seen so much, so many different experiences going on in a pan yard or in a panorama, music being lost, people not getting paid, people telling me, you know, I quit the pan, and these are super talented people. I want to study, but I don't have money, and you know, all these kinds of things were going on at the time. People expressing different emotions. I was noticing around that time that, you know, people were, you know, after panorama, you would see the bush growing and the racks there and everything empty and then nothing happening.
Yeah.
So I started to, around the same time while this was going on, said I'm gonna produce an album. And the album was a story. Several stories. One was Another Time, Another Place, which was kind of looking in the future and see this, if this could only happen, this is where we could possibly be.
In a
It's
social.
so it's an emotional ride, but it's describing a state
Okay.
if we can get there,
Right.
like using the thinking globally and you know, and utilizing the talent that we have,
Right.
and it's you know, that kind of
Yeah.
philosophical kind of song.
Which is fine. Which
Um,
works.
And then there was this song that I did. So this was non-panorama music at the time,
Yeah.
but it was a whole album of music, which included the same Land for All piece
Right.
that I started, the Passion for Pan, which nobody took
Right.
for Panorama the
Right.
next year after Glory.
Right.
And then, there's a song called Pan Celebration, which was really utilizing some of the negative energies that we have, situations we find ourselves in, but lifting ourselves up
Why do you
with the
think
instrument.
we did not? So, the new executive have been trying to. One of the things that they spoke about before coming into position is having that conversation of Pan existing beyond Panorama, and that's a conversation that's been happening for years, but nothing beyond that. And it's interesting that you're talking about the same thing here, and it shows to me that the attempts have been made by a lot of people, because when Panorama ends, as you rightfully said, the pans hang up, but start to grow until next season.
Next time.
Whereas that's not how art works. It's not like the artists turn off. It's not like, so outside of yourself, which other artist was creating outside of the season? Or was that something that wasn't really happening?
I don't think it was really happening in
That's
any,
crazy to me, you know.
any big way, but I could be wrong.
Right. But I mean, there's no data that would say that, but it shows. Because now,
Yeah.
2019, we still having that conversation of, the executive have to say these things that, we want to have Pan all throughout the year and do. When in my mind, I'm thinking, shouldn't that be like, why isn't that already existing? Why that have to be implemented? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Socially, why wasn't that?
I was also noticing, quite a lot of different things happening, like a lot of more women in the band.
Mm-hmm. Right, you did a piece on
so
that
I said,
too.
well, let me start to talk about the woman in
Yeah.
band. Because all the history you read will show, well, this, the stigma if you go in that
Yeah.
instruments. And then there was also a song I did called Where the Pan Man Gone, or Where
Right.
the Pan Man, which was really even referring to some of the hardships going through with the Pan Man, and they end up going away, some on cruise ships, someone's whatever, some
Yeah, to
that,
find the money.
and it's just that, this is 20 years ago
Yeah.
that I'm writing this and produce this, and we're talking about that was talking about Pan not getting paid, and
Again, that was 20 years ago.
and that was 20 years ago, and I kind of wonder.
Is it what time machine happened somewhere? Why we still having this conversation? 20 years ago, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that was a song called Where the Pan Man Gone, so there was that kind of music going on. So I did that album, and I just kind of put it out there to tell a story. That album was called Passion for Pan.
Right.
And then what happened? Denise Plummer came along,
You have a lot of work with her.
and she had just, I guess, finished doing a lot of work with Booksy, with Misbehave, Mind Your Business, and all these kind of songs. And I said, well, let me try. Let me try the big artists singing Pan songs all over the place, right?
Shoot your shot.
and Denise heard a song called Fire and Steel, and she started to dance and then when we was playing it, she said, yeah, that sounds good.
She liked it.
She liked it. So and then from there, that was 2001.
Right.
A lot of bands started to play Fire and Steel. That was produced with. Actually by Booksy and Pelham Gordon.
Right.
And that was sung by Denise.
Right.
So that song I wrote the music and the lyrics. And it did pretty well.
How do you go about when you're creating? Which is easier for you? What is your process when creating? Is it melodies first and then lyrics? Or is it that sometimes you just only hear melodies, you only hear the music itself, the composition itself, you're not hearing the lyrics? Because I know there are some pieces that you've done where you didn't do lyrics, so Christoph Grant might have done
Correct.
lyrics and stuff. So how does that work sometimes for you? Is it you just hear melodies only and then you're like you force lyrics on, or sometimes they go lyrics first? How what is that process for you as a creative?
I know Hand Fire.
Yeah. Wanky, just now, Wanky, say it out, let me hear it. Let's see Denise Plummer.
You know this music, Gerelle?
Yes.
What's the problem?
I wouldn't know it from when it was happening though. But at this point I was big enough because I remember Misbehave. I remember
Right,
I was
right.
playing, but I was still very young, but playing. So you know, the whole thing is a lot, and trying to wean off the violin and the orchestra life.
So I guess the process varies. You know, I remember different times where, like in the studio, where you know you do Passion for Panis comes very quickly. In other cases, like Colors Again in 2006.
It's Destra.
With Destra at that time, you know, I was almost hearing the melody itself. And what I was trying to do was fit the chords now to the melody that I was hearing,
Okay.
which was not normal.
Yeah.
I don't normally have it that way.
Right.
So I would normally have the chords and then the melody would flow from there.
Okay.
But in the case of Colors Again, it was more the melody, and I'm trying to fit the chords.
Right.
This is what it
And
sounds like.
that's one of the more memorable pieces, and I think it's because of that phrasing in the chorus. It's hooky.
Colors
Again.
Right.
And then her voice on it was I don't know, something about it was it's just easier to remember. I don't know, or maybe it's just
Yeah, as a lot of people could still sing that song
Yeah.
many years later, so I guess that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Um,
Another thing about your style of creating, which is different from so many other writers, and I want to ask you about it. When you create your melodies or the compositions, do you create just the part that is sung, or do you hear, because your style, in most of your arrangements, there's that conversation between the vocals and the background. There's always like a line that steps in between lyrics kind of thing. Is it that you're hearing that as well? So you're hearing what is sung and then hearing like the brass part coming in between there, or that in the composition, because in the description they'll have, you know, composed by Mark Loquan. But I've always wondered if that composed by is strictly just the melody, which is sung, or if you have a huge part to play with those lines,
Actually,
the orchestration inside
well, most
of
of the time is really the melody
Right.
that I'm composing. But when you go in the studio,
you hear stuff
you
again.
start to hear stuff. and
Right.
then, you know, then you start to hear some lines, or what about this and what about that.
Right.
And then fill the space with that and
Right.
so on. So that is how the process would normally work.
Because
with
it's
the- with
very
the- with the
evident in your
producer.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you work with different producers. So
Yes, correct.
that's what I'm saying. It have to be that that's something with you. Because if you go by Ivor, you go by Pelham, you know, there's still that style that remains. I'm like, that have to be Mark work.
Yeah, because sometimes you hear a lot of different parts just filling it out. There's a main melody, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what you're working with. I mean, in other cases, I would play a melody on pan, and in other cases, you know, I'll be walking with someone. I remember walking with Andy Schaefer at the same Fire and Steel, and asking him, "Have you heard this before?" Da 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 da. Da. That's a song.
That's what you're asking him?
I asked him.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I never heard that before." I said, "Okay."
Oh, so you're not sure if what you're hearing is original
No,
or
exactly. So you're always checking yourself to see,
Right.
well, you know, is this
somebody was playing that on the radio
is
or
this something
something.
I've heard before? You know?
Right. No, that's all you. That's all you.
So he said, no, that's that I never heard that before, so good. That's the song. And then my next day it was done, you know, kind
Right.
of thing. But that is one event, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't
Happen
happen
all the
normally.
time. So
Yeah.
every time is different. You're creating
Every time
process.
is different, yeah. And then sometimes it's on a keyboard, and you know, I'll play out the whole, you know, like Hooked was one of those songs,
Yeah.
2008.
And you
and,
get hooked on the rhythm of the eye.
Correct.
Right.
And I'm playing that on the piano.
Right.
And,
Really?
Yeah, all the melody.
So
and
if you're
chords.
capable of doing that, you can create the melodies. You hear the orchestration in there. It's the melodies themselves are built for pan. Why haven't you tapped into arranging?
Arranging.
Pan arranging. That would be very clear. Pan
Yeah.
arranging.
Well, I've arranged in the studio with different producers.
Right.
And certainly when I was living in Australia between 2012 and 16, what happened was there was no steel band in Western Australia. There was a bunch of steel bands in Eastern Australia.
Okay.
And what happened was there's a guy called Lennox Madman Jordan
Okay.
who lived in Brisbane or close to that in the east side of Australia.
Australia,
He made the pans for Australia. hail out
All the way in Australia.
Lennox, Madman, Jordan, who goes between Australia and now the Royal Guard of Oman.
Is that
From
right?
the Steelpan, and he's the guy teaching them in
Is
Oman.
that right?
Build the pans, and you know, when I landed in Australia to go and work
Right.
in my job, I called up some Caribbean association at the time, and I said, "Well, do you guys have Steelpan here or not?" The answer was no.
Of course.
But now that you're here, maybe we could start something.
Oh, good.
And they started. This guy brought the pans across. Sent it across. He didn't bring it across.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
sent
yeah,
it
yeah.
across to the, and I'm talking like 5 hours flight
Right.
from the east to the west of
Right.
Australia. This is first steel band
Right.
forming. It's called Perth Pandemics.
This is in Australia, not
in
Western Australia,
in
right?
Perth. So it's called Perth
Just off of a phone call. Just shoot a call. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, no?
Well, the guy name in charge there is Larry Cavallo. He's Larry Cavallo from Perth. And he said, well, what do we need? I don't know anything about pan. You just tell me what you need. Tell us this, that.
Crazy.
So I didn't think much about that. Next thing you know, he got the pans. And he said, well, this guy will come across and start teaching us. Well, of course, that never happened. So here was all these pans.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm not going to waste this moment. Let's start get some music from, I don't know, off the net anywhere.
Right.
And let's start to teach them bass, tenor.
Right.
Not that I've done that before.
Right.
So if you
But
go-
you've been in the panel long enough, so it should. Was it easy to just like
it was,
pretend to be a ranger slash
no, it
pan
wasn't easy
teacher?
at all. But I would say it was rewarding to see a lot of people who had been living there had no musical experience at all. Take to a steel band and now they perform and you know songs are being played
crazy.
and yeah,
Is it still existing now?
and still existing today.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's
Huge.
that's-
But not like arranging. You didn't have to like. Oh,
Well,
did you?
some songs I actually tried. So I said,
How
no.
was that? Honestly.
That was interesting. Actually, I said, so this sounds like a bass line, it sounds like this, let's put it together. There's a
Right.
chorus played, and some of the songs I didn't have music for.
Right.
I just heard this was a popular song on the radio
Right.
at the time, and we did it, right? So, yeah, not that I ventured too much in that area, but I leave that for the experts.
Marcus Ash, Silver Stars. Feel like we could challenge Mark and challenge his hand as a arranging for the stage side after the carnival season, of course.
Yeah, right.
I don't see why Mark can't try Yan as arranging. Why not? Why not? Why not?
Let's leave this as a hobby. Right?
Okay. When you went to Denise, it was just random, why not? Shoot your shot kind of thing. Was it the same with Destra? Because you have a lot of work with Denise, you have a lot of work with Destra as well. I don't know if it's because it's Destra, those are the more popular pan tunes from your portfolio. Maybe you might have an answer to that. Do you think it's just because it's Destra, the name, and where her career was or is at the point in time?
Well, I mean, there were songs like Identity and Frenzy with Denise Plummer that Silver Stars ended up playing and doing very well with it in the whole arena. But I would say the whole changed with Destro. I was trying something again. I was saying, well, you know, this is. I remember watching the whole panorama scene, and it's not people. A band would be playing on the drag and so on, and nobody's moving.
Yes, no reaction.
And I'm saying, well, something isn't right here. This
Yeah.
this is not what panorama was about.
Yeah.
So maybe I should try to make the songs a little more party. This was my first attempt to party flavor the
Right.
songs.
Right.
So going to Destro or artists in that field was kind of new in 2006. I mean, here we talking Kess and everybody now
Doing like, you know, with
doing
a
it.
creator with pan in mind.
Yeah, but 2006 was when I went to Destra, and the reason why I went to Destra at the time is I went to some fete, I think it was, and there she was. She did her first song for Panorama with Andre Tanker
Okay.
called Roller Coaster,
Okay.
and she didn't have the music with her, and she ended up just singing
A cappella?
a cappella in front of this whole audience.
In front of this fat audience.
I said, but this
She could
voice
sing.
she could really sing.
Yeah.
And I like to use it, see if I'm lucky enough to see if she.
Shoot your shot. Why
Yeah.
not?
And I went and we had this song. This was the same song, Colors Again,
Yeah.
where you're trying to fit the chords to the melody because the melody is there already. And she said, yes, and I remember they came into the studio. She and Karen Boodoo sing and Gerelle Vivek and.
Really, it was a whole team.
And they just, ad-libbed or whatever they did that day and did the words on top of the music, and then it came out, and all of a sudden, the same year I had Good Times with Denise Plummer. This was the words written by Chris Morris.
This is on the Denise Good Times?
On the Good Times. Words written by Chris Morris. I did the music. Denise Plummer was singing it. So this was a year I had Denise and Destro at the same time.
How was that?
And it turned out that Colors Again was being played by, I don't know,
See, I didn't even know
18 bands or
they both was in the same,
the same year, 2006. And then a lot of bands played Good Times too. And so it turned out, I think in all, it may have been 20-something bands.
I remember that song was like, Wanky, you know that song? You know Colors? Play that. You know Colors at all? Now, this is what I was doing. I know these boys and them not in that panty. But if they're familiar with some of the things, then it says a lot about the song. And especially where, Wanky, all this time in 2006, where were you living? You were still in Lavender?
2006, yeah, I'm still in Lavender.
I only seen me, but I see you.
Yeah, because I think in Wanky.
I'm probably now out of secondary school.
Oh, nah, you would not be on that pan, right?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Damn, listen,
Yeah.
Courts was one of these songs, of course, because Courts yeah, Courts did Colors.
Chords and Colors Again.
Yeah, this was with Ken.
Yeah.
And to me, that's all I was. I don't know if probably because I'm from Success, so of course you're passing every time on the panyards, for me. But Colors Again was a song that non-stop. Like, is there any other song happening that year? So it's interesting to know that it was the same year.
Yeah. And Good Times was very popular too.
What do you
Fun
think?
Claire played Good Times.
What do you think, in your opinion, is the reason with the pan music in that lull moment? Right when you were having that conversation with yourself, that why people not moving to the music, what is happening, what's going on? Because you're right, 1990, which is the year I was born, and you watch footage of Panorama from that, and I'm in regret because I would never experience that. And I never experienced that.
Steelpan by Storm, I did.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I look, Panorama is my favorite arrangement ever, hands down. The first time I was like, this is madness. This is insane. And you watch. I remember watching that audience in, of course, footage. I'm like, I would never experience this. And then this is while I'm having that thought, would have been around the time of Colors Again. And then when I look at the Panorama audience, then it's so not the same.
The same, right?
It's not. So, in your opinion, what do you think was the reason for that dip in the pan music? What went wrong? What do you think went wrong?
Well, a lot of people were saying at the time that everything was sounding so, formulaic, and you have this section, then that section, then you change key, and it's kind of
right. The arrangements were set up
that
for
kind of preset things.
But as the arrangements, the actual songs, the actual compositions,
songs.
yeah.
Right.
What do you think was the reason why the pan tunes? Because at this point, arrangers weren't choosing radio songs; they were choosing pan tunes. At this point, people just writing pan tunes for Panorama. They ain't even listening to what's going on in the soca scene at this point. They just write, whatever. But something had to have gone wrong with the music. What do you think that is? I mean, I have my opinions on it, but.
Well, I just remember that, from say early 2000s, there was this whole focus on creating pan songs. There were even pan kaisu competitions, and in fact Denise entered these competitions, but it didn't last very long.
Right.
But then what you got was a lot of people coming in to the whole
it was saturated.
It was a lot of people producing this. Yeah, for a long time that has happened, right?
Right.
But in those times it was, guys like you know, you find like the Uber, you have the David Rudder, you'll have, you know, different people doing music. Forget all the names.
Yeah.
But not everyone stayed.
Yeah. It was something so strange that happened with the pan.
But there was a
music
lot
there.
of, I guess, songs that were written for pan, right?
I think, like, my opinion on it is, I think the arrangers got too much involved in the compositions.
You mean with their own compositions?
So the same way where you are a composer, so you'll create a pan song and your mind is built like that. I really sit down and because it bothered me. It really did bother me. The same way you can't arrange for pan as much as you've been in it and you understand it, but you yourself wouldn't arrange for
I
pan.
can, but
you wouldn't.
I'll leave it for the experts who really.
That's what I'm saying.
They
Arrangers
really,
started to get into the composing and thinking of competition. So you already had your idea of what your arrangement was going to be. So you just build the shell of a composition. And the problem with that is when you build that direction, then there's nothing for the audience to hold on to love first before we get into the arrangement.
Interesting.
So melodies, pan, when you start listening to the melodies in the pan song, in that dip is what I will call it that. You can't remember the melodies because your melody is for pan to sing, but not for the average person who's drinking white or cold night to sing. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you have a simple melody like colors again, colors again, simple, hooky, playful stuff that could fit easy in a soca, could fit easy on radio.
And it was. I remember people telling me, "But this is like a breath of fresh air."
It was very
It
refreshing.
was something new that they haven't heard, but you know, and it was simple progressions and so on, but nice structures and movements. And, so yeah, that worked well, but that also stemmed the relationship 1 year after the next. And you know, we did a song, and that was 2006.
Yeah.
And then 2007 we did another one called We Love Carnival. And I guess from 2008 onwards is where I met Ken. Soon after that, in fact, I met Ken in Colors again.
But you mean like me to work with now?
Yeah, well, the first time I met Ken, I mean, of course, Ken was this legendary.
The Ken,
the
Ken
Professor Philmore that I hear all over the place, travel all over the world, playing Carnegie, this one, you know. And I had never met him, but we would always have a family function at Boxing Day. And the entire family would come, and I would normally launch my tune for next year.
Oh, that's nice.
And I'll play it.
That's nice.
So that year I launched Colors again. And then one of the people who usually used to come was actually Ken's brother.
Really?
Brian, I hope you're there listening. Right, so this was 2 years before, this was 2 years before I even met Ken. So that must have been around 2004 that I've been meeting Brian or whatever. And he said, well, you and Ken should be doing some music together.
Like, it seemed obvious.
You know, he has so much music to offer and so on. But he eventually came, 2006, and he showed up at this function, and I launched my song as normal. And Ken said, I love this tune, I go in with this chords, right, playing it. And then we said we started, 2007 passed, but
in 2008.
That is where, you know, we had already, you know, started to work with Destra.
Right.
And then so we, the three of us started
that
doing it together.
That trio there is where magic happened.
So that was like Hooked and Surrender and Rewind and Vibes and Calling Man.
And it's just, there's something about that trio. There's something about the trio of your working, the melodies, the arrangement, everything just fits. You know, Desha's voice sitting, everything just fits so perfect. It's almost like you want to know what the trio going and do the following year.
Yeah,
what
so
was the creating part or working with? Well, any moments at all you remember where the three of you all felt that, like any moment where you felt like, yeah, this trio is because it seemed very random how, you know, the meetings happen, but then when it happened, it happened.
No, it happened, and we would always have, you know, it would happen in different ways. I mean, Ken might have some part of a melody, or I might have the melody waiting about this, and then we kind of put it together, and Destro would normally write the words, but then we'll be there sometimes in the studio, and we all kind of get the vibes and everything, right?
Of course.
And we always had a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would meet, and we play this kind of rough. I have a melody from the years ago, and I already play for you.
See where it fits in.
See where it fits in. Well, that's real good, and then you build off of that, and then you get Ken vibes in it, and funk and soul and that kind of thing.
Just Ken, but it is Kenness.
Yeah.
Ken being pro.
His love.
His
love in the whole thing.
Yeah. And the chemistry with the three of you, it remained though. Because even with the song for this year, it's still there. I was, that's one of the things I was paying attention for when I was listening to the song for this year. I said, oh God, I hope they don't miss on that chemistry, that's something. And it did not. It felt as though whatever happened in studio in the past with the three of you when you're creating, it was still there in the finished thing of this song.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with this song. Of course, all of us are quite still trying to get over. I'm not sure we get over Ken passing. He was such a dear friend to us. But this song was quite important in that respect.
Of course.
We pay tribute to him, and I'm glad Destro managed. Destro was inspired in a way when all of this happened, and she wrote it on a flight, and the song was finished in one shot.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a certain emotional level.
Yeah.
In all of it.
I really do appreciate how she went about writing this song. It wasn't a Ken gone but keep your name up. It was a he's here. Saying, it was that kind of celebration, and I love that about it. And
he's still sending vibes from where we
it felt like that.
And he's showing down with Jitsamaru and he Manet, and so
it felt like that. Yeah. Listen, walk into the
Oh, yeah, don't cry for me. I have my pan with me, and my name is now legendary. I doing this so long, sometimes I'm sometimes dumb. Your boy was tough, they could never break me. Sending vibes from above. Tell them professor said this year is full of love. I'm going home. My chariot wings. I'm going home.
Even how she personified, like in the writing, the writing is Ken. I going home, and almost like he talking to you, and that's how Ken would talk to you. He would talk, he would talk to you direct.
That's exactly right.
I appreciated that about this. That's sure you did real good there with this song. I really, really love this song for that.
Some bands have taken it so far. The Sangre Grande Quartets.
All right.
That was the last band Ken arranged for.
Right.
I'm hearing other bands, but even if it's not played on the Steelpan, I think Destro and myself, we feel very, fulfilled in playing tribute to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's a song that we feel proud of.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it, and I brought it. I'm like, yes, this is the kind of song that definitely needed to send him off with. It's gorgeous. Congrats on that. That's great. 20 years in it. Most of what we've heard so far seems like just operate with no boundaries, like a what if kind of attitude. There's no what if, they just do it kind of approach. That's interesting. That's very interesting. A lot of people in my generation, we don't operate like that. There's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of they're going to say no, there's a lot of hesitation, and most of what you've explained your 20 years to be, I've heard no doubt. I've heard no second guessing. I've heard no, just your story is just do it. Just
just
shoot your shot, just go.
Just do it, you know. You know, like produce music, passion for pan. Nobody played it, you
Right.
know? And you can say, well, you know, why did all of this for? And you tend to get discouraged. But you know, it turned out that that song is recorded by some bands for universities, and you know, it's played in other places.
Right, right.
So not everything is for the panorama scene.
Mm-hmm.
I guess another learning experience is I went to live in Norway,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a band from Finland called Steelpan Lovers
Mm-hmm.
that was playing my 2002 song For the Love.
Okay.
Of course, Finland is just next door to Norway, but there's no steel bands in Norway, but
Yeah, it's in Finland.
And they were practicing for the Steelpan, the Steelpan Festival, European Steelpan Festival in
Okay.
2002 in France, and I decided to kind of learn the song.
Okay.
So the guy sent me the arrangement by computer,
Mm-hmm.
and there I could, you know, speed up the song, slow down the song, you know, hear this part with this part or whatever. And I was learning it rather than flying there. And,
Right,
you know,
right.
And at the end, I would just show up and, you know, just
Right,
start to play with the
right.
band. So that was more economical than anything else. But what was interesting about all of that is the fact that these very young blonde-haired, blue-eyed children were meeting and playing our music, and here they had it all scored out, and we weren't scoring our music. We were losing music every year. So all these nice arrangements that you heard in
Yeah.
bomb competition,
Yeah,
pan in
gone.
the 21st century, panorama.
If it wasn't there, that's it.
But there's nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it even in Silver Stars, and you know, right afterwards, well, the bassman left, and therefore
Nobody else knew the bass line.
nobody bassline. So that song dead. So you lost some wonderful arrangements that should have been captured.
Yeah.
So I guess that is also part of the experience of, you know, forming the music literacy trusts and
Right.
trying to support people and,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. It was
through
definitely
music
needed.
education and so on.
Absolutely needed. And
Yeah.
now you have same Silver Stars. Liam just come down like 2 days before Panorama
Send
to
the score down
play.
already.
He's been and whole season the
Right.
scores are there. Because you have people who could read. You had walked in the yard and Marcus in front there. And each section leader or whatever, you have scores. You know, you
Yeah,
read your
exactly.
scores. I remember going to Skiffle myself the year that I did Ray's song, and Ray needed help with distribution, and he just gave me his scores, and I dare give him music to cellos. Like, it really is an evolution. The players
Definitely.
have come from far where we can stop call ourselves players and begin using the vocabulary and calling ourselves musicians.
Yeah, sure.
Especially in the panorama. Especially in the panorama. That's a big deal. That definitely is a big deal. It's a huge deal. The literacy for pan music. That's a big deal.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an organization that we started in 2004, and then we started just to kind of help people go through the same, and you know, the same observations of noticing people falling through the cracks because, you know, at that time you didn't have gate and those
Right,
kinds of things,
right.
and, you know, so we started to support, you know,
Yeah.
the people like, you know, Kareem Brown,
Right.
and Amrit Samaru, and you know, at the time, and I mean, here they are
Yeah.
in today. Some
Yeah.
of them are you know, prime arrangers,
Correct.
composers.
They are considered the elite arrangers
you
and
know,
players. Yeah.
those are the same people.
That's right.
That we were trying to support at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then we were also preserving music, scoring it out, and making sure the universities were using it.
Yeah.
So people like Jit Samaru, who supported the music literacy, you know, he had stuff in his drawer, and you know, he was so happy when we
But
took it
now,
out.
what
and-
is interesting about it, and again, the evolution of the pan industry, is where you're seeing a whole separate job being created here. This year, and within the last 2 years, 3 years, you have people who are offering their services to score the music.
Yeah.
Just arrangers send the music, we score out everything fair. And now you've created jobs in the pan world. I
That
see
is-
people selling themselves now as pan, they scoring for pan.
And it's more than just scoring. I mean, it could be people recording each instrument,
Right.
which makes it easier to score
Right.
that way.
Right.
So I mean, you have the UHEs now and the
Right.
cats going around recording bands, but if you kind of position it where you can
Yeah.
record each instrument, it's a lot easier to score the music.
Yeah.
And everybody should consider, everyone has a repertoire for their stage
Yeah.
music, and start scoring that stuff. And I know some bands have started
Yes.
doing
Definitely.
that, and because you don't want to start losing
The music, you don't.
your music.
You
So
don't.
I think this is something that's important for, I guess, our sustainability
You're right.
of music for the instrument, for the education system, for understanding how people are spreading their chords and what they're doing.
Right.
So
Before we kind of wrap up, 20 years is a lot. People barely surviving a 5-10 year career. But to say that you've had a presence for 20 years, that's a huge accomplishment. And I think it's because you've been able to be observant and step out of being in the industry and step out and look at it and see what's missing and evolve and move with it. Seeing a 10 years again seems easy to assume. Is that the intention? A next 20? Or
I'm not too
I don't
sure.
want to hear the R word anymore. I really don't want to hear the retirement word. I don't want to hear it.
That sounds good to me.
No.
No, I'm not too sure about that. I mean, it's like, it depends on where the music is going, because as you see, the music is more following the pathway of the party music and soca music. Is that a trend
But I mean,
for now, or is that you're
actually,
gonna come back?
it's interesting because I think there was a point where the soca artists, in like I said, in evolution, we experiment, we look outside of ourselves, and there was a point where I think soca artists and producers for soca music, in trying to be different and trying to evolve the song, start looking into everybody else. And within the last 3 years, I think they come back to the calypso. So you find like the more recent, this year, let's look at this year's soca music. So many calypso lines inside of there. You hear pan lines inside of there. And I don't think it's that the party, or I don't think it's more of the pan musicians have to try to match the party musicians, because I feel like the party musicians are already tapping into that. So there is a middle ground, I believe, that can happen.
Well, I think a lot of the issues that I guess people like myself face, and many who had entered the arena trying to make all these pan tunes, and that was becoming a lot easier with home studios and everything else. But the issue of airplay and the sort of almost like a stigma attached to a pan song, or playing on a radio,
urban radio.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that when, of course, the mainstream was going in a certain direction?
Right.
So
But then look,
it's not
Ultimate
surprising.
Rejects now, and who else have Iowa? Have a pan tune this
That's
year
right.
too.
That's right.
And that's something, those names, but they're adapting their sound to what you are creating. So it's happening. The evolution is happening, which is now more than ever for you to stay.
Well, at the end of the day, it's about, I think, the a good melodic structure, and it's catchy and energetic, and if you're talking about the elements of panorama, that is. I guess where I was going was thinking also more about music being created for the instrument, and where are those channels, and how do we create that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of creativity in Trinidad and Tobago at the in the panyards and in universities and so on, but where is the channel for all of that to come out? So, and I would like to see really that potential harnessed.
What are your views on the melodies of the soca artists now? let me call some names. Nyla, Voice. Their melodies in the melodies in their music, even though it's party tunes. But what
Some
do you
of
think?
them are great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they actually the song "Yeah for Love," with Renegades, that was a fantastic piece of music, and Duvon did a great, fantastic job of
insulting kind of job on that.
You know, told a story
Yeah.
that was kind of like beyond imagination.
Yeah.
So yes, it's my opinion on that is can we coexist?
I would like for it to happen.
I would like to. It's not an either or.
Yeah.
But once there is, music created, whether it's for calypso or whatever, just create music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, it's not about
Yeah.
doing a song as a pan song. And
Correct.
That kind of stuff.
Correct.
Certainly, I didn't have that in mind when it came to Colors Again.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. It was let's just do good music, and I like progressions and chords and things. So
Right,
I feel a little handcuffed sometimes when I have to do a few chords
Right.
and work within that.
Right.
But that's where the music, I think, is in a way forcing.
They're willing. They're willing.
Forcing-
They force their hand a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
That's where it's going.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Push the envelope. I mean, they're pushing the envelope in the soca in so many other ways.
Right.
So, yeah. So, okay. So, I'm glad to know that we're not retiring.
Well, in fact,
At 10 years again.
for the 20th year, at least what I like to do is have
Take a break? What?
Have a concert.
We having a concert this year?
Well, I would like to.
Yeah, no, we having a concert this year.
I would like to.
Yes, we having a concert this year.
So I'll aim for it.
Yeah, we have 41 songs.
41 songs to choose from.
To build a whole show, we can build a show. Only Mark having a concert this year, only hear that? We having a whole show. A whole entire
It's
show.
just a thought and a concept.
No, we having a show. We having a whole concert this year. What do you think? A whole concert this year. I think, why not? Literally, why not?
Why not?
You self-teach me that in your 20 years
Yeah, why not?
of a career. Why not? Just shoot your shot. Just do it. Just do it. And it needs to be done. It needs to be done. We need to capture these things and celebrate these moments. 20 is a lot. I don't know how many people could, in the pan world, and I'm saying that, composers who could say they have a strong 20 years. You know what I'm saying? That you've been relevant for the entire 20 year spread.
Well, I remember when this rule came out, you can play old songs. And I say, oh gosh, I wonder if my song can be played at all. So that's a real test to see if they choose the old song. This was before this.
Yeah, I remember that.
Soca music came on stream, but it was.
And they said the period you can only take within the last 5 years or 10 years or something like that.
But they were going back whenever, but the thing is, even during that course, I mean, luckily some of the songs were still being played by steel bands.
Right.
But then you had this whole airplay issue come on stream, you're not hearing the songs, and of course, people don't want to. That was probably another reason why, you play the panorama and nobody know the songs.
Yeah, because it's not being played.
It's not being played.
Yeah.
So I mean that is a big disadvantage. But so I mean, I hope I could continue.
No, you're going to
doing
do
what
it.
I'm
We're
doing.
going to have a concert this year. And we're going to have another song next year. And Wanky? Yeah, Mark going to give us another song next year. He made the one with Destra. This is me just talking now. He made the one with Destra. Because I see nothing wrong with him and Destra still working. We like she alright. And two of them together does work nice. But he going to do one with, who you think, Wanky, in the soca world, you can hear Mark working with, like, a feeling, a voice.
Besides voice,
Pretty is our next one
is
too,
our
you
next
know.
good one. Gerelle is our next good one.
Hear
too.
you.
Gerelle.
Alright, hear you.
Gerelle
Yeah.
Forbes. Never heard of Gerelle Forbes?
You hear to set up yourself, Gerelle, you see? And that is what you call setting up your own self. No, but I have a lot of great Nadia Batson.
Yes. Yes.
Nadia Batson is an incredible writer.
Yes, she is.
She is a beast of a writer. And she should be pushed in the pan. She should be one being forced to yes, I'm doing this. So you're not doing Dasha next year. You get Dasha release off, Dasha could write your part. Actually Dasha is going to release her own band song next year. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna be working, you're gonna write with Nadia next year.
I see.
And we're gonna have the show this year. What else we do? What else we be demanding? What else we demanding?
Gerelle Forbes.
And we back here. All right. So, Mark, anything else you would like us to know before we wrap up?
Well, I'm always, thankful for, getting involved in this whole another world, right? And I guess I've been one of the people very fortunate to see Pan received and playing in Europe, or the States, or Canada, or Australia where I lived, or Japan and Finland and so on. And it's the growth of Pan today is amazing, and I would say that there's a lot of potential for our instrument, and there's a lot of potential outside Panorama. There's a lot of potential for the people who create music, score music, people who want to arrange, compose, work with bands away, and so on, tune, make bands.
There's room to strengthen the industry.
I mean, if we start thinking globally, and you see the welcoming effect
it's everywhere. Pan is literally everywhere now.
Everywhere. As I said, the guy I met in Australia is now teaching the Royal Guard. In Oman,
crazy.
There's a Steelpan who played in the Australian festival and
That's
things
so
like
crazy.
that. And then I went to Japan. I think it was 2015, and I went to see about 5 different Steelpans in Japan, and they were all playing vibes and calling me, and
that's crazy.
I'm saying I'm thankful that I've had the opportunity. My work took me in a lot of those places and so on, and that has shaped some of the
industry. The industry thank you as well. They wouldn't officially do it, but I'll do it. I thank you as well, because the work that you've done is important. It's important, not just like because you can just create, record, release, the end. You can do that. But then what about the exporting part? And that's a conversation that, you don't have, and the creatives don't have. You create, you record, you release, but then export. Especially with Pan being everywhere now. You have places you can send your stuff to.
Exactly.
And we may not hear it here, we may not hear it here. But outside, it resonated. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if you saw this song called Pan Kingdom.
If I saw it.
There was a virtual steel band project done by Dr. Mia Gormandi and a team. And the video was about, it was arranged by Ahmed Samaru. I did the song Pan Kingdom. It was sung by Anson Douglas. And what Mia and the team did is they actually put together a video of all the steel bands playing.
I did not see that.
And I'll send you the video and you could feature it.
I did not see that.
But then you saw the global effect of everybody playing pans from all over the world playing the same tune.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know. Why haven't I seen that?
Here's the Mia, by the way.
Dr. Gormandi.
Dr. Mia Gormandi.
No. Dr. Gormandi.
Benjamin. Congrats.
Yeah. Okay, so we definitely have to check that out. Yeah?
Definitely.
Wanky, you're taking us out with Pan Kingdom?
Yeah, well.
Want to say thank you to, of course, Mark Loquan.
Thank you very much.
20 years is plenty. Kid, I'm at 20. Give me a 20 more now. I'm at 20 more now. Make sure. And I can say, remember, Mark, come on, Mark. Yeah, come on, man. Gerelle Forbes here with you. DJ Wanky going to take us out with Pan Kingdom. Thank you very much for viewing. Live on live interviews. And of course, I'll leave all Mark's information. Mark, you're not on like Instagram, and well, you're on Facebook, but you have a website where we can get all your...
Yes. The website is www.markloquanmusic.com.
And you can literally find everything about Mark's 20-year career there, as well as music. Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Yes. Wanky, all you ready? Give me the Pan Kingdom.
It's sweet and they come to feel. one side the cold and steel. Their passion they can't conceal. Panorama seals the deal.